Hello everybody and welcome back to another update. I am Pat from Pat's Path Predictor, and I have been covering something with this hurricane that has been absolutely jaw-dropping. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into this because we need to talk about this, and we need to talk about how fast this thing has been intensifying and how much more it could. Alright, so this is what we have right here. I usually start with the satellite imagery. However, basically the GOES 16, GOES 17 data that's supplying that to Tropical Tidbits, it is running behind. So we're not going to be showing that unless while I'm recording it comes back through. So I apologize for that, but we need to talk about this nevertheless. So this was the 10 a.m. advisory. I found it in the NHC archives rather, and at the time, and this was at the last video update, it was a 85-mile-per-hour hurricane with higher gusts, and the pressure was 981 millibars. Now that's basically where it was. And when I was finished recording, while I was editing, this is what happened, and it went up to a 90-mile-per-hour hurricane with basically the pressure dropping to 978 millibars, and at this rate, right here, 981 to 978, that's 3 hours ahead. That's a 1 millibar drop per hour at that point. And a 1 millibar per hour for 24 hours, that's 24 millibars in 24 hours. That is considered rapid intensification. Now, what I'm about to show you next is absolutely jaw-dropping. If we pull up the archive, this is the 4 p.m. right here. This is absolutely jaw-dropping. Maximum sustained winds have increased to near 110 miles per hour with higher gusts. This is now a high-end Category 2 hurricane. So so Agatha ended up doing what I thought would have happened. I'm sorry, I said that wrong, but you get the idea. It literally jumped a category. It was a high-end Category 1 at 1 o'clock Central Time. At 4 o'clock, it was a high-end Category 2. And the rapid amount of wind speed increase is absolutely jaw-dropping itself. But I want to show you something else that is even more jaw-dropping in my opinion. The pressure dropped to 964 millibars. And for context, it was 978 at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Now it's 964. That's 14 millibars in 3 hours, and if you do the math, that is almost 5 millibars an hour. This thing went from rapidly intensifying to just bombing out. And if you ever see that, that's just a rapidly deepening storm. That's not even explosive intensification. That's way more than that, because 1 millibar an hour is considered rapid intensification. 2 millibars an hour is considered explosive intensification, and anything other than that is considered absolutely bonkers. And this is jaw-dropping. And let me give you some context on why it is, in my opinion. In 2021, Hurricane Ida, basically what happened was the pressure was always falling as it was approaching Louisiana, and then between 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning, the pressure literally dropped 7 millibars in 1 hour, and that allowed it to strengthen from a 115 mile per hour Category 3 hurricane all the way up to a 130 mile per hour hurricane, which is Category 4, and that all happened in 1 single hour. And I wanted to make this very clear. In fact, because of this, everyone should be taking this very seriously. And the winds are now at 110 miles per hour. This thing is now expected to become a major hurricane at the time of landfall. And we can look at this right here just to show you. You can see this is greatly the tropical storm force winds is greatly expanded. The hurricane force winds are still 15 to 20 miles away from the center. And look at this. It's now expected to strengthen to a major hurricane. The NHC expects it to strengthen to a 120 mile per hour Category 3 hurricane. I'm not exactly sure about that. It could be 120, 115. I'm thinking it's going to be between 115 and 125, maybe 130 at its absolute cap. However, there is still very warm waters. It is over. The wind shear is still extremely weak, and basically this thing could take off again. We don't want to see this. However, I want to let everyone know that hurricanes over the last few years have tended to strengthen as they are approaching land, as the waters get hotter on the surface as it moves in towards land, and where this is at, the wind shear is very weak. And not only that, this is now possible that this thing is going to end up crossing Mexico into the Gulf, into the Bay of Campeche, and becoming a tropical cyclone over in the Atlantic Ocean. And this is what I'm looking at, and this is what we have as of 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on the 29th. 5 days out, we have already a 30% chance of development, and it's not because a certain cell is going to form over there. It's because of Hurricane Agatha. And to read this quite bluntly, a large and complex area of low pressure is expected to develop across Central America, Yucatan Peninsula, and southwest of the Gulf of Mexico in a few days, partially related to the remnants of Hurricane Agatha from the Eastern Pacific. Some gradual development is possible within the system in the far southwestern Gulf of Mexico by midweek, or in the northwest Caribbean in the latter part of the week as the larger low complex drifts eastward and northeastward. Regardless of development, locally heavy rains are possible across southern Mexico, Yucatan Peninsula, Guatemala, and Belize through the week. 30% chance in the next 5 days. So this thing now has the possibility of doing what happened in 2020. In 2020, Tropical Storm Amanda in the Pacific Ocean basically made landfall in Mexico, and then it moved into the Gulf and formed Tropical Storm Cristobal. So we could be seeing this, except it's going to be a lot worse because the waters in the Bay of Campeche are extremely warm. They're in the upper 80s degrees Fahrenheit. So I need to say this. These are the latest tracks. And after 3 days, these split all over the place. But they're in agreement that this thing's going to be making landfall in the next day or so. And I want everyone to understand this. And the intensity, the majority of the models now have it at Category 3. Some keep it at Cat 2. But at this point, we can say without a doubt that this thing is going to be a very powerful hurricane at landfall. And basically, a lot of people's lives are at risk. And one thing I want to say is that if you're in that hurricane warning, you need to get out of there. If you can't speak English and you're not understanding what I'm saying, well, if that's the case, then if you are speaking English and you would like to translate this into Spanish, feel free to. It is much appreciated. The way I see this is that this thing is still going to be very powerful at landfall. It's going to cause a lot of damage, and I don't exactly have the exact storm surge graphs pulled up, but it has the potential to cause quite a lot of it. So, with that being said, normally I would only ask for you guys to like the video and subscribe to the channel, but what I want you to do is I want you to share this video with every single social media that you have, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. We need to make people aware of this. We need to make people aware of this threat that is going on, because this now has the potential to impact the United States as well. And I'm being very blunt when it comes to that. So I'm going to repeat this one more time. Share this video with everyone that you know. Share this video on every social media platform that you have, because we need to get people more informed about this. We need to alert people about this very powerful hurricane. But with that being said, that's going to end the video.